Yeah.
Hello there.
Hello there, troopers, and welcome back to General Kenobi's Bunker. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on this debrief episode. A little bit later than I would have liked, but here we are, and we are going to be talking about Bad Batch. But tonight is a very special episode because we got our very first guest here on the debrief. Can you believe that? We have none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Hollywood himself. We got Hey Archer tonight, who is going to be joining us here very shortly to talk about this episode of Bad Batch. So make sure, first of all, hopefully you've seen Bad Batch, because guess what? We're going to spoil it, okay? So, second, make sure you're checking out Hey Archer here on YouTube. Without further ado, because we like to go fast around here on the debrief, we got Mr. Hollywood himself. Hey Archer, joining us as the first guest on this show. What is going on, brother?
I love that intro. I was just like, the whole thing. You went 0 to 100. You had like no intro, no nothing before, and now you got a countdown, background, intro with music, countdown with music. Freaking to you, sir.
Hey man,
To you.
after watching you for literally years, something had to rub off. So I appreciate you for all the inspiration, by the way.
No, dude, you're killing it. So keep doing it. Keep doing your thing. Even the
Appreciate that.
background wallpaper, man.
Right? It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good.
We're looking pro out here.
Wait, but are we
Uh,
Sith? Because it's all red. I was
It
just thinking
is,
about
and,
that.
and you know what? You know what the worst part is? I think I have a blue one, a blue rendering of
Yeah.
it. So don't ask me where it is in my computer.
Well, now
But
blue's Spanish now.
yeah,
You
so that's what I was
found how
gonna
you
say.
done
So
it,
I'm
yeah.
trying to like brand it out, right?
Mhm.
And so don't get me wrong. At some point, we will do a live in Spanish, and I will definitely have you as a guest, by the way.
Yes.
And so we, then we'll probably go with the blue hues, like you said. Um, but first of all, thank you so much for joining me here tonight as the very first guest of General Kenobi's debrief. So hats off to you. Thank you for coming in clutch, and thank you for holding on. Because yeah, as I mentioned before, a little bit later than I would have liked, tonight. But nonetheless, we already got some people here in the chat, and I appreciate each and every single one of you joining because tonight was specially rushed. All right, I realized that I gave you guys like 15 minutes heads up, and I apologize for that. But I really do appreciate each and every one of you showing up. First and foremost, we got LeBron Fed always here in the chat. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for jumping on. Rolando Flores, our super duper mega mod here.
He's the
This
mod
guy
of
is,
YouTube.
yeah, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
He is in every single, awesome channel that you see out there that you can think of. Any live stream, he's always there, moving into the shadows like a ninja and just working his things like background and dropping links and basically just giving us support to all of us, a content creator. Now, that's not to say he is a content creator himself. He has an awesome Instagram where he does a lot of really good toy hunting. Sorry, so definitely go check out Rolando Flores, Toy Hunter, over on Instagram. We got our good friend here, Legacy of Nerd. Thank you so much for joining, man. I appreciate that you like the intro, man. Thank you so much. If for whatever reason you have not checked out Legacy of Nerd, my man is killing it. Okay, he has a couple interviews with some of the actors for Power Rangers in Space, and he's got a couple more still to come. Okay, so if you haven't, definitely go check him out. Subscribe to him. You do not want to miss these interviews that he has been posting. So definitely go swing by. We also got Dave's Dimension. Hello there, brother. How you doing, man? Same thing, guys. If you haven't, definitely go check out Dave's Dimension, especially if you like Ghostbusters. All right, my man is killing it with the Ghostbusters content out there. And if you like tech, if you like toy hunting, he does it all. So definitely go check him out. Okay, so real quick, everybody saying hi to each other here in the bunker. Uh, Thanks, LeBron. I appreciate you dropping some of those links. LeBron is another of our mods here in the channel. So, guys, any link that you see here in the chat, I would greatly appreciate it if you can go check it out. If it's a YouTube channel, definitely go subscribe. Let him know that the good general sent you. Rolando. Yeah, man. So, by the way, I just remember you're right. You just had surgery, man. What are you doing here?
Oh, right.
Um,
Yeah.
so I hope everything went well, first of all, and I appreciate you making the effort to be here. But if you do not feel 100%, by all means, man, we will not hold it against you whatsoever. So, yeah, so good vibes. Hope you heal soon and hope that everything went just fine. So, Mr. Archer, Mr. Nerd Affiliated, Mr. I Just Went Hollywood here on YouTube. Uh, I just want to get a real quick maybe overarching opinion on Bad Batch season 2, which is what we like to talk about here in the debrief. By the way, if this is your first time, this live show is dedicated right now solely for the reviews, the comments, what we saw, everything, discussion of the Bad Batch season 2. So going back to you again, sir, what have you thought about this season so far?
So I guess I'll just speak in overview before we
Yeah.
dive into specifics. But so far, I have to say, in the compliment, I will start off with a compliment.
Ooh.
Visually, it's really good. They really improved a lot from last season, from Clone Wars in general. The last time I noticed this big of a jump was when we went from like the Clone Wars series to like finally getting the final season. Like I felt like there was a big jump there, and
Agree.
even within the season, there was a jump from that total season to the final like Ahsoka Mandalorian arc.
Yes.
So in this one, I've noticed a big change in a good way. Very evident in the lack for better phrasing pod racing episode. But in this episode too that we just saw, there's a lot where I was just like, all right, they got more money, more budget. I guess they have extra time to work on it. So visually, I'm liking it.
Yeah.
Story wise, there's a lot to be desired, but I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll jump almost right into that. But just to cap off what you were saying, yes, I have to completely agree. Visually, I have no complaints. This thing is gorgeous, man. The some of those backgrounds, I'm like, this, they render this for like a 8-second shot, maybe not even that. I'm like, man, somebody put in a lot of work into those renders, and it looks gorgeous, and it definitely shows. And like you said, you definitely see a big jump. And it's a little bit funny you mentioned about the time, because season 1 was not that long ago. I think we had maybe 7, maybe 8 months between season 1 and season 2. So I'm sure they had a lot of them queued up, right? But I'm just saying, they kind of are cranking them out fast.
Yep.
But as we like to do here on the debrief, we are going to take a quick jump into the episode itself. And whoops, that's not it. Just kidding.
I was ready to vibe.
Yeah, hey, I'm just checking if you guys are still awake. So take 2 on that. But don't worry, we'll fix it in post. So we are gonna go into the episode here, and don't worry, we won't watch the whole thing, and hopefully you guys have seen it by now, because otherwise we're about to spoil quite a bit of stuff.
I love that you do this, by the way.
Yeah, let's try it out. So let's jump over the formalities, and we get Wrecker and Omega basically dumpster diving, right, in a junkyard, and they are looking for a compressor, right? And so you see Wrecker lifting heavy things as you usually do, Omega being curious, and then they come up to a particular ship where they find the compressor, the part that they were actually looking for. But Omega finds a couple of trinkets, right? Or what seemingly are trinkets. And she decides to pick those up too. To me, this looks honestly like a baby's toy,
Hmm.
but we're gonna focus more on this item right here.
Hmm.
And so we are back into Sid's layer, and they're basically delivering the stuff. But then you get this character here, and we saw her in the first episode of this season, right? She is the one that brought the intel for the Count Dooku's war chest episode, or
Hmm.
episodes, I should say,
Hmm.
plural. The first two episodes that we got, and so she noticed something strange about the trinket that Omega picked up, and it turns out to be uh, basically a compass, right? And and in here, and I want to get
Rise of Skywalker.
yeah, exactly. I want to get the names here correctly. So let's just activate these guys here, um, because they. Let me tell you something on this episode that right off the bat I did like. They went old, okay? They went ancient on some of this stuff. So
Hmm.
we got some names that at least right off the bat I did not recognize. I thought I did one or two of them, but I looked them up and I don't think I was right. So I'll just preface our review by saying that. But the point is that they basically um, are going to the Caldo Trinary system, which is an unknown system, as Tech says later on. And she's like, yeah, treasures are not usually in the regular maps, right? Like you kind of need a special actual treasure map. So let's just fast forward. She is chatting it up with Omega, who is just eating up all of the stories, right? And I think at this point we don't know if even half of those stories are true. It seems like she exaggerates a lot, but um, they do find a planet at the coordinates, and it's basically a pretty barren planet, right? It seems like it's been through some sort of ecological disaster, or it's just withering away. Then as they do, they're using the compass to basically find their way to wherever the compass is taking them. They go through different passageways, through the mountains, etc., until they finally get to a secret entrance that was basically hidden, beneath or behind some rubble. They go in. They actually have to solve this puzzle, which I'll be honest with you. Let me see if I can get a better image here, but was it just the 90s in me, or did this guys with the little squiggly lines, you can't see it very well here on the image, but he had basically some sort of like hieroglyphs or cutouts into the stone. These things reminded me of the pillars from Fifth Element.
Exactly what
uh,
I was going to say. Yep.
okay, perfect.
Hmm.
So screw you guys, I'm not that old. Okay. uh, and so that's
well, if somebody here has not seen Fifth Element
yeah.
because of age, you
y-
definitely need to pause, go
Agreed.
watch it, come back.
Yes.
Required sci-fi watching.
And yeah, and it absolutely
Amazing.
holds up. It
Yeah.
is a super fun movie, so definitely go watch that. Pause this, like my man Archer says, go watch it, then come back and let us know.
Hmm.
Okay. So hopefully we fast forward into the future, and you already did that, so let's come back here. So they basically went a little bit Indiana Jones in this episode, right? Maybe a whole lot Indiana Jones, now that I think about it. And so they basically have to solve this puzzle. They got to line up some of the symbols so that a door is revealed. And they do that. Um, you know, it is Omega, the one that sort of figures it out, that the compass, reveals some of those symbols that are not normally visible. So now they're using the compass as like a decoder as well, shining the light on it and trying to see which way they need to go. So they keep going, and then she tells them that there's a legend, right? A legend amongst pirates, or treasure like liberators, or ancient artifact liberators, as she calls herself, about a rare stone that's called the Heart of the Mountain. And just with that name, I'll be honest with you, I got some I got some Rings of Power or Lord of the Rings, vibes with
Mm.
that. How the dwarves had their mystical stones, right? That they would find in the deepest places of a mountain, and they would call like the hearts of the mountains.
Hmm.
So a lot of reference here in this episode, at least that I sort of picked up on. And then we got, the team gets separated. There's a collapse in the ceiling. They sort of get split up. There's some booby traps and things like that. And yes, I said traps. Um, and so these guys, they still push on because she is now sure that they are onto something for a legendary treasure, right? And so again, some more traps, trying to stop him. Um, she basically finds the entrance, and then we're just gonna work right here. So it turns out that the compass itself is actually a key for this doorway, right? And she thinks this is going to reveal the treasure. This is what she finds here, which is a pretty cool looking, again, sort of fifth element, stone. And she decides to remove it, as you'll see. And I really did like this, like sort of like stars inside, kind of like black matter uh, effect to them. But as it turns out, that was actually sort of like an activation key
Hmm.
for basically a giant mech, right? Now, she does mention that the ancients built this, okay? And that's something that we'll circle back in a little bit once we're done with our recap. But uh, this thing basically wakes up from inside the mountain. It's pretty huge in size, as you can see right there. Um, and so this I wouldn't say monster, but this giant mech, uh, maybe giant droid is more the appropriate word because it kind of does move on its own. They were not controlling it. So this is the mountain here. You see where it rose up, and it just starts going sort of crazy on the planet. So this is something that I wanted to point out. Some of this architecture back here, with the lights and the circles and the curves, that stood out to me as being um, kind of familiar. And so they basically say, we got to put in the stone back to deactivate it because it's about to destroy their ship. So let me see if I can get a shot of that. I wanted to. So the droid or mech actually has a giant energy weapon, um, and so it's seemingly at least shooting random energy blasts like that right there into the surface of the planet, right? So of course this is gonna catch up to the Bad Batch's ship. They're trying to avoid that. They're basically, going into the inside of the structures to put back the crystal. She almost falls, and then they're also attacked by this like sort of miniature silo beast looking thing because it was pretty like blaster resistant. And so they, Wrecker, of course, dispatches it out, and as you would imagine, they are able to put back the key into the mech or into the giant droid just in the nick of time as it was about to shoot their ship, right? So it deactivates, and it basically blows up, right? With them escaping, of course. And so there's the rubble, and they manage to, live for their ship. And so they're basically saying at the end, we should have never come here. And she says, well, at least, we destroyed that thing and nobody can activate it. And so the pirate basically says, yeah, well, in that case, I think it was good that we came here, right? Like we actually came on top then. So it may be in a rushed way, that's sort of what the episode is about. um so first and foremost, what did you think about this episode? Did it move the needle for you in terms of you enjoying the Bad Batch more? Did you maybe feel it was a little bit formulaic again? Let me know what more or less what you thought about this episode.
I mean, if I'm going to make it a pod racing reference, I feel like episode 3, we slam down the levers, we're freaking going, and then all of a sudden the red lights going off, beep 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 beep, beep, and then and it breaks down. That's episode 4. And then episode 5, I'm like hitting the damn thing, like, come on, let's go. And it just won't. And I feel like that's where I am now. Cause you know, actually, can you bring up the screenshot you just had up
Sure.
of all of them standing there?
Yep.
So something I was talking about, Anthony and I have a ramble coming out next week, shameless plug. And I was joking about how they just repainted all their suits so that way, one, they could probably save money on the modeling for the show, save money on the actual figures that'll come out for the show. But something I appreciated in the beginning of the episode when they're in Sid's lair, they're not wearing the backpacks.
Yes.
Wrecker's wearing something different. And I was like, oh, all right. So we're getting more here. So that's probably my only compliment of the episode was that I was like, oh, we have new character models for these characters, different uniforms. They're out of uniform. They're chilling, literally just sitting down, drinking at the bar, no
Yeah.
gear on. And I like
Right.
that part. But overall, this episode went, I posted on TikTok, Star Wars Theories comment. I could have skipped it. It did nothing for me. Maybe if it was the Zillow Beast, if they had
Yeah.
went there and they found the actual Zillow Beast and barely escaped, and they're like, "Whoa, where'd that thing come from?"
Right.
And then that opens up the door to Palpatine again. Like, turns out there's a trooper base there, and they're any of that stuff.
Yep.
But otherwise, I was just like,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah. I don't think I could have put it better myself, with the pod racing reference. That is exactly how I felt too. Now, trying to go deeper into it, I
Right.
did enjoy this one more than the previous one. The one
Yes.
about the racing.
Yeah.
I will say that. I also, and LeBron brought it up here in the chat. I hope that this is what they're going for. Okay, I hope that we are looking at Zepho technology because they look very similar. Okay, we have not seen a giant, Zepho like Megazord so far. We saw, basically like a 10-foot tall guardian that used energy beams very similar to this thing that we saw in the episode. And so that's about the only thing that sort of like moved the needle for me, is that if they're talking about the Zephos, and yes, it's an ancient race, basically was more or less introduced for the Fallen Order video game, right? And I'm sure they're going to expand that further than that, but they were pretty advanced race. They were very ancient. And so she does say, several times that, this was built way before even the Republic, right? So that's about the only like thing that got me a little bit excited, that they're actually pushing the boundaries in terms of the timeline, right? In terms of the history within the show. However, the show itself, the episode itself, it didn't really hit me as particularly fun or particularly creative. Even visually, I gotta say on this one, that at least on the previous one, on the racing one, we had some really awesome shots, right? And it seems like that's been a recurring theme pretty much every episode. I kind of feel, except for this one. So like with most Bad Batch episodes, at least so far, I kind of feel it's got its ups and downs. Yeah, exactly, Legacy Nerd. So that's what I was gonna referring to. They basically woke up a giraffe sword, like LeBron says. And yes, exactly, it looked like the Guardians in the game, the Zepho Guardians. I do think that if this is going to be a recurring thing, as we know, the Zepho did live, temples and vaults and all kinds of technology just spread out throughout the galaxy. So there's a very big possibility that there are more of these things. What is going on? Thanks so much for joining us. Let's see. Tall Neck from Horizon Zero Dawn. Oh, you got me on that one, man.
It's a game where the girl essentially fights giant monsters.
Okay.
And Yeah, that's pretty similar.
Nice.
Mhm.
And so yeah, like I said, and actually more like you said, um, we had this awesome episode on episode 3.
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest with you, after 2 episodes, I mean 2 episodes after that, so we're in a total of 5 episodes. This
Mhm.
I kind of feel like that episode 3 is actually hurting the season
Yes.
overall
Yeah.
more than helping it.
Yeah.
And I think you hit it, hit it in the head when you said, we were like, boom, let's go, let's do this. I'm excited for this. This is what
Mhm.
I wanted. And all of a sudden, nope, you get none of it, sir. Like, they just dangle it in front of us. Like, look how awesome we can actually be, but we won't. And so we're back into the formula of things. Um, I did actually, let me see if I can get a shot of that because I did notice that as well when what you were mentioning when they actually go into um, into Sid's layer and they're all talking. See, here's a
Mhm.
good example. So here's Tech, right? And if you notice, he's like you said, he's actually not wearing armor.
Right.
I think probably for the first time
First
in
time.
in the show, right? Or
Mhm.
definitely by in season 2. So he still has some tech. See what I did there on him, but in terms of like like maybe military gear, like exactly, it doesn't quite look like that. And it was a thing that I noticed as well. So I like that too. I like that they're basically including some of these details of their day to day like lives. There's Hunter in the background, and there's Echo, and again, either of them are actually wearing armor.
Mhm.
Echo, that's integrated to his brain, right? So he can't just take that off. And his cybernetic arm, same thing. But in terms of you know at least his upper torso, he seems just to be wearing a vest, like
Mhm.
nothing too much tactical about it.
Uh, real quick,
Yeah,
Anthony mentioned something interesting today because Anthony is a veteran, and he was like, I guess not that it matters to the comment, but I figure I just mentioned that anyway. But he
okay,
was like, if you're in tactical gear and you're in a place that you don't really trust,
right.
like you're not just all right, let's just take all the gear off. Like you
I
might
see
take your
that.
backpack off, but the backpack's near you if it
Right.
is off. Otherwise, you still got a gun on your holster. Your gun is still on your person's, So that's where he's like, maybe now they're at a point where, for story wise, they more trust Sid than before. But it's also interesting because in the last episode, dude was like, "Oh, don't trust Sid," and now it's like they let that guard
Right.
down. So it's like, which one
Yeah.
is it?
So I actually really like that comment. Anthony, first of all, thank you for your service, man. We appreciate you. Uh, and thank you for the service to the Republic by pointing stuff out like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So uh, that would be pretty cool, actually. That if they actually took the details to that level, where like you said, maybe they've been working for Sid for what, like maybe around 9 months or
Mhm.
somewhere around there. I think it's been under a year by
Mhm.
this point in the story. And yeah, they she hasn't double crossed them yet.
Yeah.
uh, and so that could definitely be it. But see, that's also, you bring up a good point, and that's a little bit of the problem that I got, because like you said, oh, in the previous episode the guy told them straight up, hey, do not trust Sid, right? You guys are loyal to her. She would not do the same for you.
Mhm.
But here's my question: do we actually know if that was the previous episode on this
Right.
point?
Right.
Right? Because again, we have no context, right? We
Mhm.
just go from flavor of the week, problem of the week to the next one,
Mhm.
A team style. And so we don't really have like a semblance of story or, time progression, right? At least not yet. Not that
Mhm.
I can, tell that well
Mhm.
anyway.
Mhm.
Um, so it's just one of those things, if that previous episode could very well be, the one leading up to the season finale, for all I know, right?
Mhm.
And I don't, I couldn't tell. I couldn't, tell them apart if somebody plays them like out of order. I
Mhm.
I got nothing, right? So
But the thing is, even in Clone Wars, there were things that were out of order when you went, story arc to story arc. Because something I liked was you had the 3 to 4 stories,
yeah,
as part of one, or 3 to 4 episodes is one story. And when I think about filler episodes, they all still had like some sort of purpose. And
Yeah.
the one that always comes to mind was the droid episodes with the little general. And the first one is kind of like, oh yeah, they're just droids on this wacky adventure.
Yeah.
But eventually they kind of like make their way into it being part of the overall story, and it makes sense. And you're like, oh, even though it's filler, it still serves something to
Right.
the empire, if you would, but or republic at that point.
Yeah.
However, here I'm like, first of all, they're just doing all these heists and effing up every single one of them. So I don't even know what their success rate is. But
Yeah.
two, I'm like, all right, I get it. Like they all are a team. They work well together. Omega is the heart of their team. Wrecker now has a heart and cares for her. I
Right.
got all that in the middle of season one.
Yep.
Why are you
Agreed.
still wasting my time showing
Exactly.
me that stuff to try to get me to care about them? I already care about them.
Yep.
So let's
Yeah.
get
Let's
let's
just
get
keep
going.
going. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and also, very good point, because some of my favorite episodes in Clone Wars that do not deal with Mandalorians
Oh yeah.
is actually the episodes of Echo, actually,
Mhm.
and of 99, the
Yeah.
defective clone
Yeah.
that helped them out, in Camino. And
Mhm.
those are all out of whack.
Yeah.
Those are, they start off in the middle, then they go prequel, then they go all the way to the end, and
Mhm.
then they come back once more.
Mhm.
So they're absolutely that. Don't get me wrong. Like it's not a deal breaker, for the show that
Right.
it might be jumping around in time. That's fine. That's almost expected right nowadays, at least for a Star Wars show. Um, but this episode also highlighted something that I've talked about, maybe a little bit too much, but I feel that we need like a character like the pirate here, and her name is escaping me right now, to be sort of the guide, sort of the lightning rod for what the story plot is. And I feel that these guys work better around a character, right? like
Mhm.
like I said, um I absolutely agree. We know that they work well as a team. We're starting to care more and more about Omega and things like that, but I feel that in terms of a story, I think I enjoyed this one better. You know with a main central character that was not the clones, right? So
Right.
that's just my theory. So Brett has something to say here in the chat. Says this week was better, but I think we have to lower expectations. These are simply the things they did between Order 66 and A New Hope. If I think of it that way, it's all good. Maybe. So yes, absolutely. And maybe we should preface this whole thing by saying we're looking way too deep into this. But that is exactly what we do here on the debrief. Okay,
Yeah.
we sort of dissect as much as we can the episode. We give our 2 cents, and then we hear from you guys in the chat. So I thank you, Brett, for that. Guys, if you haven't, definitely go check out Collecting with Cool here on YouTube. My man's killing it, doing some really good Star Wars content. So appreciate the comment. LeBron says one the skies. Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. uh,
One actually, just to touch on Brett's comment for a second.
yeah,
Anthony also made a good point in our upcoming video that doesn't exist at the moment, but it will next week.
and we will
He
watch it.
There you go. It's not like we are dreading watching the episodes. It's
Agreed.
not like it's torture to watch them like some other shows that have come out.
Agreed.
It's just I would like it to mean something,
Yeah.
because we've had so many other shows that take place in between Revenge of the Sith, or sorry, in between Phantom Menace and New Hope. Like we got so much in there. It's like the world is built.
Yeah.
So just give us more detail on it. And
Yep.
it's definitely the argument somebody had in my comment section on TikTok was, "Oh, you're over here complaining that a kids show has too much filler or whatever."
Mm,
And I was like, "You know what? If we were talking about early Rebels, maybe I would entertain that. If we're talking about the Resistance show, whatever that was called, fine. If we're talking about Clone Wars season 1 and the movie, I would see you there. But considering that Clone Wars after season 1 took the hard turn and became a more like TV 14 type show, um, it's not a kid show anymore. This Anthony, again, shout out to Anthony. He's like literally the advertisement for this show was the Clone Wars symbol that melted away and then it said Bad Batch. So it is a continuation of that show that is supposed to be more, you know, mature. Again, not asking for people to get murdered every episode, but FYI, somebody got murdered in the second episode,
Yep.
straight up point blank, and in the third one. So to say it's a kid show, I'm like, this isn't that show to use that argument. There's plenty of other things you can, but in this one, I'm like, come on, like there's more to it, as Mr. Skywalker said, and I just think they're wasting our time. Like again, I'm like, I enjoy sitting down to watch it, but I also feel like I'm wasting my time sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And yeah, I agree. These are not quote unquote kids show, right? These are not
Right,
meant to be watched by 6-year-olds.
right.
And so they definitely know who their audience is, like you mentioned. They I do see them shifting a little bit darker this season. I
Mhm.
just kind of wish they would let me have it.
Yeah, yeah.
Trust us enough, like you said, that we have been here since the beginning. We know the team. We care about the individual characters. We care about the overall status of the galaxy at this point.
Mhm.
Let's just dive into it, right? We got our filler episode, not filler, but maybe I call them formula episodes now, because it's like the problem of the week, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, and I was thinking about this watching this episode. I'm like, man, how much money do they actually make?
Yeah.
Because they had like a cool 10 mil in gems and credits in one of those cases, right, in the first episodes, and they let it go.
Yeah.
uh and and they're still out here, spending ammo, spending rations, spending
Mhm.
fuel.
Mhm.
And I'm like, again, on this episode they didn't win, right?
Yeah.
Like they did not win any monetary gain. So
Again.
they just, yeah, again, exactly, so they just
Mhm.
flew off, half across the galaxy and spend a whole bunch of starship fuel for basically nothing. Previous episode with the racing, yes, they won technically, but the money was to free Sid, right?
Mhm.
So at least as I understood it, they got none of it. So yeah, man, like it kind of seems like they're going into the red here
Yeah.
with these jobs. Legacy News says, like, this is the start of a big Sid story and introducing that character. Yeah, I mean, hopefully we see some development there too. I hope it's yeah. I would love to see more of the Cepho stuff for sure, because not everybody knows about them. Me personally, I don't know too much about them. I know some of it that I saw from the game and some of the synopsis and things like that. But I am by no means an expert on the Cepho. So if they're gonna go that route, I'm all for it. I don't know how pointless Indiana Jones episodes could fit in the future though. Yeah, yeah. Again, it's just one of those things that like Archer or maybe Anthony mentioned, they're not horrible by no means, right? It's just, I think what maybe we are being a little bit harder on this show is because we see the potential, right?
Yep.
And we have seen how it looks now when it's executed well with episode
Right.
3, which again, I hot take, but I kind of wish we had not seen that yet.
Yeah.
I'm kind of, I kind of wish I could erase it for now and then just pull it back up like mid-season maybe.
Mhm.
Uh, but anyway, we already got it, and like I said, I think that's why we're a little bit more critical of the show, because they can do it right, they have done it right already, and yet they don't do it consistently right.
Yep.
So it says if the Emperor tries to weaponize the Cepho tech, yeah, that would be pretty cool actually. They should scrap the Cepho giraffe. Hey man, like it was pretty. I mean, in its own way.
Mhm.
So with that said, we overall, I would, if we have to score it, I think I would actually push this up to like a 6.5 for me, because just on the account of, like I said, of that reference to the ancient stuff, a few things that she dropped some knowledge on, finding like an ancient blade and things like that. I still gotta go back and triple check those names, because I thought I knew what one of them was. I thought it was from the Rakatan Empire, uh, but I don't think it is. If it is, then my hats off to those guys for the deep cut reference. But I don't think it is. So I gotta
Mhm.
go back and double check those names.
Mhm.
So that's sort of what pushed it, a little bit higher for me. Again, more of the references, not necessarily the episode that we got, what we got to see itself.
Mhm.
How about
Mhm.
you? Where, if you had to, more or less, where would you put this one at?
Funny thing is, I actually do have a running sheet now, so
Oh,
that when we do the end of the year awards, I can actually go back and see like my in the moment thoughts and scoring for everything.
okay,
Um,
guys, and this is why Archer has a way more successful channel than I do.
that sucks.
He is already thinking 2024.
Yeah.
He's already preparing that video that's a year out. So my hats off to you, good sir. Color me impressed. Share some of that knowledge with us.
So this one got a 6 from me.
Okay.
Now, crazy, I gave the last one a 7.
Okay.
This one, the reason it got a 6, I think, is it has to do with the last one. They're very connected in the sense that we got 2 episodes of nothing. So going based on that, I gave it a 6. I wrote down another treasure hunt gone wrong. They activate a giant robot that has an alien living in it and destroy it. It did nothing. Nothing was learned. So it, again, it was fun to watch. Things were happening on the screen. They're shooting an alien, but it's
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Action Figure Podcast, thank you so much for joining us, man. And you basically just
Same thing.
scored it exactly like my man Hey Archer here. So
Hmm.
this episode at 6 out of 10, last one a 7 out of 10. I
Hmm.
gotta say though, I did enjoy uh Teo quite a bit, in the last episode. I actually
Yeah.
like that droid.
Yeah. Oh,
So
and for record, I gave episode 3 an 8.5.
oof.
And I think
Yeah.
the only reason it didn't get a 9 um, was a lack of trust for what's to come after,
Yeah.
but also it didn't have the Bad Batch in it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't give it a higher score if it doesn't even have the title characters in it.
Right? It's kind of like that episode from the Book of
Mando.
Boba Fett, right?
Sorry.
Where
See, I still say Mando,
exactly,
and I
because
mean Book of Boba Fett. Yeah.
it was very much a
Yeah.
Mando episode. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's funny how that works, huh?
Mhm.
Uh, so everybody saying hi can only get, yeah, I hope so. And like we've mentioned, right, we're maybe a little bit overcritical of the show because we have seen the potential that he has, and we have seen it executed properly too. So they can do it. That's for sure. I have no doubt in my mind. It's just how soon can we get that into the season, right? We're
Mhm.
5 episodes in. I believe we got how many more? Like
10.
yeah,
11.
no, yeah,
Because
exactly 11
16.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're still, we're not even halfway there, right? So there's still plenty of Bad Batch left. I just hope, we can, on the next one, we can at least start seeing glimpses of what we want to see for this show, where we want this story to go.
Mhm.
And with that, I gotta thank our very first guest here. Hey Archer, definitely go check him out. My man's not only does he have a very successful nerd affiliated channel here on YouTube, um, which, as he mentioned, he contributes with two other great guys, which is Anthony and Sal, to bring us all kinds of reviews, uh, excuse me, news. My favorite morning, Monday morning show now, which is
Nerdy
uh, y-
coffee.
yeah, exactly, Nerdy Coffee over on Nerd Affiliated. So definitely go check them out, please. Over at Nerd Affiliated here on YouTube. Also, get yourself some pretty cool merch over at nerdaffiliated.com. They got some mugs. They got a nice sleeveless t-shirt like the one my man is sporting right now. They got plenty of stuff. So definitely go check them out. Rolando, thank you so much for dropping the link right there. So click that, subscribe to that. You will enjoy that for sure. But also, if you feel more on the toy hunting vibe, go check out Hey Archer, also here on YouTube and on Instagram, where my man goes toy hunting. And he hasn't been posting, I guess, most of his full length toy hunts for a little bit now, but that doesn't mean he's gone, okay? He's just more efficient at it. So now he just posts like the nice highlights of all the stuff that he found. So you killed it today. Was it today? Yeah, today,
Yeah,
where you
today.
found some of those clearance. Uh, dude, that kit looks dope too.
Yeah,
Like
got it.
I've oh snap, employee up for that. There you go. So that is just a small taste of today's hunt. Again, definitely go check him out. Nerd Affiliated and Hey Archer, both on YouTube and Instagram, both of them. So,
Actually, I'll give you a little teaser.
oh,
I actually am sitting on a long form toy hunt slash ramble type video for the Hey Archer. It's at Hey Archer 1 on YouTube because somebody else has Hey Archer for some reason. They don't do anything with it. They won't give it back.
would you
But
hate it? Yeah.
I hate when that happens. So there is a longer form video. I'm sitting on it. I just haven't got a chance to editing it. But I'm also like continuing to add to it. So there's like thoughts I have that were like 4 months ago, and then a month ago, and
Right.
so like I just have to release it. So I heard the cry, I heard the
Yes.
signal, or sorry, I saw the
Absolutely.
signal, and long form is going to come back in some way, shape, or form.
There you have it, guys. Best news I've heard today for sure. So I personally I miss those longer form toy hunts. So glad that you're gonna come back to them. I can't wait. So you heard it here, guys. First, little preview, little breaking news from our man Hey Archer. Again, Hey Archer 1 here on YouTube. So definitely go check that out. Sub so you don't miss that upcoming video, and it's gonna be awesome. I can promise you that. I know it. So with that, guys, thank you so much for joining us here tonight on the Debrief episode 3. Again, with our very first guest tonight, Hey Archer from Nerd Affiliated. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for the comments, for your opinions. We definitely appreciate them. That's what we do around here in the Debrief. We like to talk about Bad Batch, what you thought, what you saw, stuff that maybe we missed, ideas that you have for what all this could mean. So we thank you a lot for your participation here on the chat. We are gonna call it a night because I did get to start this a lot later than I thought I was gonna. And once again, I thank you everybody for joining us on such a short notice. Can't even talk anymore. Such a short notice. There we go. Enunciation. And especially a very, very special thanks once again to my very first guest here on the Debrief. Hey Archer, thank you so much, sir, for making the time for us. I know it's actually even later for you, but that's just the kind of guy he is. He's awesome. What can I say?
Man
So
of my
once
word.
again, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, without a doubt. So with that, we bid you good night, everybody. Have an awesome weekend. Go rewatch the Bad Batch. Maybe we missed something. Leave it down in the comments. So thanks again, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.